Welcome everyone to Chair League Season 3 Week 2, and it is the night of the apocalypse. Everything's about to change in the world of Heroes of the Storm. We are before the big patch tomorrow, of course, and it's going to be fire and brimstone, cats sleeping with dogs. It's going to be crazy. So, tonight we have a game between the usual suspects and Prism. Now, if you watched the cats last week, Prism beat Diving Penguins in their first week quite convincingly on Blackheart's Bay, as I recall. And they pretty much outplayed the Diving Penguins. So we'll see if they face up against some tougher competition tonight. And the map that the Prism has picked is Dragonshire. So we see that the first ban is Kerrigan, which is, I don't think it's their strongest map, but you know, I trust that. They're just leaving the Falstad or Zagara ban choice up to Prism, and we'll see if Prism leaves both open so that they can grab one of those two. Of course, Falstad with this global mobility is going to be very strong on this map. So they do choose the Zagara. Now, I expect usual suspects to pick up Falstad, of course, and interesting note about the usual suspects, it being a great movie, is that most of their team hasn't actually watched it, so I have to call them out for that. You should watch that movie, it is fantastic. So we'll see if they get that figured out for next week, maybe. Until then, and there we go, we have the Falstad. The mobility is king on this map because this map is all about the rotations. You have to rotate around the map to try and get the shrine. You're not expecting, you can't get the shrine if the entire other team is up. So you gotta rotate for ganks, you gotta try to get them out of position, maybe have them overcommit to the mid lane when you're going for the shrine, something like that. And but mostly it'll come up if you get 1 or 2 kills, then you can all mobilize and get to the dragon at mid. So we see a Muradin coming up for Prism, which has been a very popular first pick in competitive play, like pro-competitive play. He's a very stable, consistent tank, and with his trait, he's actually very good at protecting the shrines. One of the things about defending shrines on this map is that you can't stay forever, because once you use up your well, and you know the globes can only heal you so much, so you have to go home eventually. Not Muradin though. Aside from his mana, he can just use his passive trait to heal up and continue to harass the other person in the lane. So a very solid and stable choice there. Not particularly capitalized on this map, but we see a Li Ming coming out. Now Li Ming with Power Hungry especially, or Astral Presence, will be able to sustain again once again in the shrine phase. So that will be very important. And we see that the response pick is Rhaegar. Very strong solo healer and kind of just overall utility. He can clear creeps, he can save someone from imminent danger with his ancestral healing. He does quite a bit of damage with his wolf bite. I know that's probably that's not the technical term for his passive, but you know what I mean. His bite, his lunge at wolf form, that's what it is, it's lunge. So he always provides a lot of value in any game. Once again, very stable. He's kind of like the Muradin of healers. You'll always know what you get from him. He'll always have an impact, and depending on his play, he can get aggressive or passive. So just like Muradin can do a lot of damage later in the game, Rhaegar can also do a lot of damage, especially if he takes the 16 wolf talent, which adds damage to his bite. We see Sylvanas coming out, and you know, with the big boss pusher maps, Sylvanas gets a lot of value if you can get it. The problem with her on Dragonshire is that she doesn't really help you too much to get the shrine. What she can do though is, since there is a lot of rotating on this map, if Prism over-rotates, the usual suspects can capitalize in the Sylvanas lane and force them to respond. So they'll have to be very careful. They'll have to look they'll most likely have to look to gank Sylvanas so that they don't take too much damage on their structures outside of the dragon. So very strong with the dragon, kind of puts a lot of lane pressure outside of the dragon. Can of course sneak off to do mercs. She's not the fastest merc taking hero, but she can do them quite safely, so and at high health. So here we see a Greymane banned out from Prism. Greymane's a very bursty hero, and in a game where you're gonna have to kill people to take the objective, he can just capitalize on someone that's slightly out of position. He can roam with Muradin to try to get those picks. If Muradin gets a stun on anyone, and Greymane can follow up and burst them. So they don't want to deal with that. We've got Brightwing as the response ban on Usual Suspects, and I really like that one since they already have Falstad. They already have Falstad for the global mobility. They don't need it. They've already got their healer, and they've got their mobility hero, and now there's kind of canceled out all the mobility heroes. The only one that's left is Tahaka, and that's not a very usual pick in this meta. So it's unlikely that Prism will take him. So now they've got the monopoly on the mobility heroes. We're just going to see how Prism chooses to deal with this. And their answer is Oriole and Thrall. Now, Thrall is a great pick for this map after Sagara is banned, because he can probably win almost any lane solo. So you can just leave him in a lane, rotate to his lane if you want, but if you don't want, you can just leave him there by himself, and he'll naturally either not lose the lane, or he will put pressure on the opposing person if their lane is weak. Now against the Falstad matchup, he will be able to eventually bully Falstad out, but Falstad being able to hearth home and then fly back in for a full heal isn't really going to miss too much. So that should be a rather even lane. Actually, okay, so I like this. So Usual Suspect says, okay, you want to go for one of the best laners in the game? So will we. We are going to match you with one of the best laners in Sonya. And Sonya can actually win against Thrall in the draft. Or in a solo lane. So... oh, sorry, I'm just giving my co-commentator the link to the draft. Okay. So, back to the draft. Okay. Okay, so Arthas is their is Usual Suspect's last pick, making their front line very strong. Arthas isn't the tankiest tank, and he has mobility problems, but on this map, once again, it's about sustain, trying to keep that shrine, and Arthas can sustain his own health and mana, so I really kind of like this draft coming out from the Usual Suspects. Arthas, they have a strong front line in Sonya and Arthas, and they have Sylvanas to put on pressure, and they have the mobility monopoly in Falstad. Now, the response is Tychus from Prism, and that's really good against two warriors, of course. And of course, his laser is going to do a lot of work around those shrines. Of course, Tychus is best when you can't kite away from him, and if there's an objective you want, well, you're going to have to fight into the laser, so that makes a lot of sense as well. Okay, so, Scapegoat, are you here now? Can you hear me, Scape? So you hear me, but I can't hear you at all. I don't know. Your mic's not even activating, so... in Discord, your thing's not glowing green, so... Anyway, so we're gonna start the game up, and hope Escape figures out his issue with Discord. So once again, we are in Chair League Season 3. Chair League Season 3, Week 2, between a game between the Usual Suspects and Prism. And, you know, looking at these drafts, I kind of have to favor the Usual Suspects. You need to turn down your sound there, Scape. Although I heard you through your mics, or heard me through your mic, so I guess it's working. We're just waiting for the players to ready up in the lobby. And so while we're waiting for, once again, Scape to fix whatever's going on there, and and the players to get ready. Oh, we're in. Okay, so I'm going to start the game. Okay, so we are getting into the game, and I gotta say, I am very excited about the patch tomorrow. It's going to be a big one. It's going to change everything. Everyone's kind of worried about the mount speed, but from what I've been hearing from the streamers talk and everything, the mount speed is hardly noticeable. What will be big, I think, is the changes to the mercs. The fact that mercs don't give XP when they're captured now makes things like bribes so much better. And taking bosses is going to be crazy. I don't know actually if the bosses were part of that change, but at least the mercs, stealing mercs is going to be worth so much more now. You're just kind of getting free damage. They have to worry about it and not maximally soak maybe, or just miss out on a lot more, and you can kind of pressure your advantage much easier. Okay, so in the blue team we have DB Smiley on Arthas.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Scape.
Is it really loud?
It was, yeah. Archimedes on Rhaegar, Kala on Falstad, Lurama on Sylvanas, and Lorenzo on Sonya. On the red team, over on Prism, we have Brainy Smurf on Li Ming, Dr. Smurf on Thrall, Megalomania on Muradin, Deck on Tychus, and Carbon Elite on Oriole. Sorry. So one person I didn't talk about it a lot, or one hero I didn't talk about a lot, was Oriole. She doesn't have amazing crown targets here. Tychus is going to do some damage, Li Ming's always going to get her poken, but she doesn't have like a Lunara to give her unlimited energy basically, so we'll see how that plays out. Her crown management will be very key. But her ability to save someone from the Sonya dive, maybe if Sonya takes leap or something like that, or just gets caught by her spear with Wrath of the Berserker up, she will be able to save them with the Aegis, so really like the Oriole pickup. Of course, she's very strong. We've seen her in a lot of competitive play. Oh, and Arthas is getting caught. That is one weakness of Arthas, is that he doesn't have an escape, but he gets out. They're unable to crowd him. So right now we see the 4-man rotations from both teams. Looks like Usual Suspects is going back mid with 3, and we'll try to soak up some XP that way. Their Prism is not far behind though, and they will not miss out on an XP. So great rotation so far from Prism. Usual Suspects holding their own, and on the top lane is the matchup which I thought we would see, which is Sonya against Thrall. And Sonya is actually playing a little bit meek here, and is kind of giving up the Shrine to Thrall, which I'm not sure you have to, but... Oh, Arthas getting pressured down here again, and he's going to be our first blood. Good catch from Prism. Once again, Arthas, even though he's a tank, and he is a little bit tanky with no mobility, you really have to watch out if you're stepping too far. It's really easy to be out of position with Arthas. Oh, and Sylvanas gets picked on the bottom as well, probably while trying to retake the shrine desperately. Now, an early dragon doesn't mean that much, so that probably wasn't worth it. So, just a tip to all the viewers out there, like 2-minute dragon isn't going to do that much, so no need to sacrifice your XP for it. Going down a level is much worse than giving up an early dragon, so... Oh, here's Falstad gonna get... Nope, he's fine. Good dive away. And we see that they're... Oh man, Prism is just playing this so well. They didn't get greedy and try to go for the fort at mid. They just went for another wall, which is kind of average value. It's kind of what you expect to get with an early Dragon Knight. If you can get 2 walls, your Dragon Knight was so value. So great job from Prism here. Gotta love their shot calling, not getting too greedy. And here we see Sonya still kind of struggling with this Thrall matchup, but he should get in there right now. He just uses Wind Fury, and Sonya could have just healed up with the Whirlwind against those creeps. It's all playing one-on-one matchups is all about realizing what kind of resources your opponent has and when he's used them so that you can capitalize on that. So pay attention to that. If Thrall's just uses cooldown, great. You just go in and heal at will into the creep wave. So we see that the Sylvanas team is taking Mercs first, which is pretty standard, and there's a gank going up on Sonya top, and of course she doesn't have any escape either, and she goes down. So great rotation there, seeing that there was an opportunity to gank that, and there's another missed Howling Blast. Now, Howling Blast is not the easiest route to hit because it's quite slow actually, but he should probably be a little bit more... Oh my goodness, and I missed another kill on Sylvanas. Sylvanas just keeps getting picked, and this is really detrimental because the next shrine's coming up and they're 2 levels down. Although, realistically, 1 full level. They're going to get 7 and the same talent tier before it comes up, but they gotta stop giving up things like this. It's an 8% swing per level around, so it's going to get harder and harder for them to hold on to these shrines, and with that level disadvantage, it's not doing a favor to their solo laner, who can probably win this lane at even, but if he's giving up a 6% swing, or 8% swing, then that's going to be much tougher for him. So it looks like Prism is taking the well, which again is a super smart move. Wells are what kind of lets you sustain and keep these shrine fights going, so without it, they can't even fight for this bottom shrine. Falstad's coming in from the back, but he's gonna get blown up. He's 2 levels down. What's happening here? If they had turned around and gone... Oh, there we go. Falstad goes down. He thought he was flanking Prism, but who is flanking who here? Oh my goodness, that was way too aggressive from Falstad. Realizing his position in the game, he should not have done that, especially since it didn't seem like his team was ready to back him up. There was no root from Arthas landed at the same time while they were distracted with Falstad or anything like that. He just kind of flanked in and then was blown up. So it looks like another Dragon Knight will go to Prism, and they're using Megalomania to pilot the Dragon Knight, which is not the best choice, I'd say, but it is a safe choice because he is melee, of course, so you kind of replace that melee role, and he has an escape afterwards, even though he's not unstoppable during that escape anymore. So we have level 10. Oh, Arthas getting caught. Once again, that lack of mobility is hurting him so much. And Li Ming with the resets gets another kill. Great initiative to jump in there and just grab another kill. Dragon Knight is going for another fort. Great decision there. And yeah, I feel like the usual suspects should have just given up that fort. There was no way they could have defended that against Heroic. So... and you can see Thrall is still soaking top all by himself and just completely capitalizing on the advantage they have this game, just kind of making a small lead bigger. In the words of the famous Artosis, the StarCraft 2 casters, when you have the lead, make it bigger. Okay, those weren't his exact words, I apologize, but I completely butchered that. But a little fight going on, and oh my goodness, oh god, 2 go down, Arthas and Sonya all day, and they just need to give that camp up. They didn't need to fight that at all. That camp, they're taking the fort no matter what, whether you try to intercept that camp or not, and you don't even have heroics yet, so you give that camp up, you can clear them safely over the bridge, or you force them to fight. You force them to fight in the bridge where they're at a much higher disadvantage. And Sylvanas being here is not only very risky, but unnecessary. You know, his team could be doing that. She could be pressuring like the bottom wall or something like that and trying to get their team some XP.
Yeah. So you can hear me now, right?
I can hear you. Welcome, Scape.
So sorry I missed so much of this juicy fight. I have been watching lots of comments, but I will hold off on them.
Sure. So how have you thought of the game so far? I mean, it's 10-0 in kills, 3-level lead for Prism. They're both taking their camps though, and they do have a Sylvanas on their team. So one Dragon Knight can swing this game still, but how are they going to get that Dragon Knight?
Yeah, so one of the biggest problems that they have, I think, is that they're underutilizing Falstad. Falstad's global mobility and presence is something that they really need to take advantage of because there's such a lack of mobility on the other
There's
team.
another missed Howling Blast. Oh no. Sorry, go on.
So yeah, no, it's definitely something that they need to take advantage of because like right now, so you see 4 people down on the bottom. He's about to see Thrall. If after this, they should just back off and just go pressure top. They need to clear the Merc camp. They need to take top anyways. Falstad can fly top, take that, but they're going to fight down here with Gus coming out. Great Wailing Arrow. Stasis comes down onto that looks like it was Li Ming, but she just barely gets out of there. Sonya is going to get melted down too. DBS Smiley taking a lot of damage from Murd and doing the best he can to body block him. Cleanse comes down on him. He's not going to make it out of there though. Falstad as well is going to go down to the teleport from Li Ming. So does Rhaegar as the resets from Li Ming really take their toll there to the entire team. But again, this is just they take the fights at the wrong time, and the fact that they lost this fight means that they lose the Dragon Knight, which is a very real factor of them possibly losing the game, essentially because of this Dragon Knight, because they're going to lose Keep. You know, I just think that they really need to utilize the PvE potential of Sonya and the flight potential of Falstad because they're really falling behind.
Yeah, I have a feeling that the Sonya was not too familiar with this matchup, Sonya versus Thrall, because she was not winning. Essentially, Sonya should win against Thrall in the 1v1 matchup, so we'll see what happens.
Down just to disengage a little bit, save the tower from one more hit. Not sure if I agree with that. I think it would have been better to wait for the Dragon Knight to be depleted and then fly behind them and gust in.
Yeah, that could be the only way they could take a fight. Now, they're still down a talent tier, so it would be very hard for them to take the fight regardless, and after this Dragon Knight explodes, it looks like they're not going to have a keep anyway, but they could have tried to segment 2, blowing 2 into the core, for example, and still sacrificing Falstad's life, maybe, or just barrel rolling away, but regardless, we have a 2-tier level advantage. It is crazy.
Yeah, this is very dominating fashion that's coming out, and you really can't do much once you fall this far behind. It's very difficult. I mean, there's always ways to win, but they become less and less and less likely as the game goes on. Once you hit level 20 though, if both teams hit level 20, then you know you'll be even talent tiers, but you won't be even in levels because they already have a 32% power spike over their enemies right now.
Yeah, and it's gonna get even worse as they're looking to take another keep. And how is Usual Suspects gonna fight when they're this far behind? It is gonna be a very hard task. We'll see what they can do. And there's the leap on Li Ming. Oh, and there's the save with the Aegis.
Immediately the Aegis and the Tychus's laser comes out. You're going to see the Unstoppable come out onto Arthas there. The Wailing Arrow did go out as well as they are just chasing down this middle part of the keep. They know that with Sonya down that they don't have much damage left. So they are just going to do their best to try and take everybody out and then core. But Li Ming did get trapped inside the core. They are taking a little bit of damage from the core. They have lost track of this keep, but now they get back to it. They're going to take the keep and get out is what it looks like, because their health bars are pretty low. But they do have Ariel, who does not need mana. She just needs people to deal damage. Li Ming has had that hat the entire time as well, so Li Ming really needs to be doing damage. Sundering comes in trying to get onto Arthas. Arthas is going to go down before the Ancestral connects as well as Sylvanas. This is going to effectively be the end of the game here.
Yep, and it was a good attempt from the Usual Suspects, but What I said would happen at the beginning of the game happened, and that's when Sonya leaps in onto the back line, Aegis will be able to save whoever she leaps on, and we saw a prime example of that when she leaped into Li Ming. And good game from both teams, well drafted, I believe, at least from the usual suspects, but the rotations from, I mean, the scoreboard was 18-0. The rotations from Prism were just so crisp, exactly what we saw from last week in week 1 from their placement match against Diving Penguins. They seem to have, they've told me they've been playing as a team for about 2 months, and it really shows that they've got their rotations down. They know where to go, how to listen to their shot caller, and I hope for the usual suspects it was at least a learning experience on how to play this map and how to kind of play the rotation game.
Yeah, maps like this and then Brexis holdout that's coming out tomorrow are very rotationally heavy. You have to be able to rotate on those maps, because if you don't and you continue to try and pressure one of the objective points, one of the 2 objective points, then the enemy team is going to not only gain advantage in the opposite lane from the opposite objective point, but they're going to know that they can just come down and collapse. And as soon as 1 or 2 people either have to hearth or tap for mana or get killed, then it just makes the rotational game exceptionally easier for the enemy team. So when you're not ahead in rotations, it shows drastically, especially in the level leads that you see here.
I see actually in the Twitch chat that people don't think that Sonya wins the Thrall matchup, and I'm going to explain why Sonya wins this matchup.
Yeah, Sonya absolutely should with a minion wave. 1v1 without a minion wave? No.
Yeah, if you play it well, Sonya does win that matchup every time, and in fact pro teams pick Sonya to lane against Thrall for that reason. How you win that matchup is because Thrall uses mana and Sonya doesn't. So you clear the creep wave faster. So if you wait for the creep wave before going in and then just whirlwind, even if he uses his Wind Fury to try to poke, to try and do some damage to you, he can't kill you. So what you do right after that is you spin again, and then you just heal up and clear the wave, and then now Thrall's got the pressure to going up against him, and he can't win that lane. So that's why I was saying Sonya playing a little bit passive there. She was getting worried when she was at Half-Life-ish, right after Wind Fury and backing off. She should have just been going in. That's when she should have been going in, because the cooldowns are down.
Yeah, as soon as those cooldowns, like those are all known that those cooldowns are going to be down. Like, it's not like he has rewind or anything. It's just they're going to be down. So it's not only that, but you have so many options for healing that you have the whirlwind, Sheet of War Paint. Like, there was plenty of ways for her to heal back up. Like, even just going and like whirlwinding into a mercenary camp and then getting out like before they start attacking, like you get a little bit of health back. Like, there's so many ways for Sonya to get health back. So she absolutely should win a lane versus a Thrall. Maybe 1v1 isn't the best way to put it, but in a lane, when she's laning against Thrall, she absolutely will win that lane. Any day of the week, as long as they play passively until you get your creep wave, and then you take out their creep wave and follow up on Thrall.
The captain of Prism was messaging me now and said he wanted Medivh, but I don't know why he didn't pick it. He hasn't given me... Oh, but they banned Kerrigan first, so apparently I guess they wanted that combo. So I would have liked to see a Medivh. Yeah. So maybe next week I plan to follow Prism through their entire placement matches, and then depending on what division they're in, I might be able to cast them or not. But it looks like they're headed for Division 1, so it's possible I won't get to cast them. So good, well played. Thank you for both teams for showing up. Thank you to all the viewers. I have a new YouTube channel that I'm posting all these VODs in, so look for the info down below. If you enjoyed the cast, hit the follow button, and thank you to my co-caster Scapegoat for joining, a bit late, but he got here. Where can they find you, Scape?
Yeah, same place on Twitch as ARG Mikey, and same place on Cheer League.
Yep, and thank you all for tuning in. This is the final game I'm casting tonight, but I will be streaming a bit of our Cheer League practice together. We are on a team together called the Penguins in Division 2, so you know, come check us out if you want to watch that. And thank you.